Hey, how's it going, folks? I'm just back from the vets, and I'm just going back to the vets to drop off some Logic Firm paste for digestive support in medium dogs, because we forgot to take it with us. Oh, not that we forgot, we didn't think of it, because it turns out that Clover's having to stay in the vets and get put on an antibiotic and rehydration drip. It turns out she's got some form of enteritis, enteritis, I think she said. It's one of those scientific words. I have no idea how to say it or what it is. So, well, it's not that it turns out she has that, it's that it's a possibility she has that. So we took with us some poo samples that she did overnight, and there was some blood in the stools. So it's a bit of a worry, to be quite honest. She's still quite bright. Her eyes are not as dull as they were yesterday. So she's still got some health about her, and we're hopeful that whatever the vet decides to do will clear it up. It's going to cost us a couple of £100. We don't have insurance, but we do have money put aside, hopefully enough. At least it will cover this round of treatments. But we love our pets, don't we? Clover's my particular favourite, and it's really quite tough to watch her going through this. But fingers crossed it's going to be okay. I've just had an idea about, excuse me for yawning there, idea about going round the Arran studios. This weekend is Arran Open Studios weekend, and Arran is a very artistic place. There are lots of creators on the island of all forms, and over this weekend in August they open up their studios, and you can do the Open Studios Trail, which involves going round to have a look at what all the artists... Oh, excuse me, folks. I actually did sleep quite well. Don't know where these yawns are coming from. So go around the studios and actually make a documentary. Just film some of the artwork and have a conversation with some of the artists. It's quite an ambitious project. I'm not sure how many studios there are. I would guess around 20. So it would involve driving around the island and going to all the studios, which would be fun, but it's making me hesitate. Well, time, I think, is the biggest factor. I could do it in 2 days if I split it up with the actual filming, and I'm sure I would have enough storage space and batteries that would get me round making enough content. But the editing would take a long time, and well, I don't know whether it's the imposter syndrome. I feel capable. I think it would be a good project for me, a good personal project. And if the results were as good as I would hope that they would be, it could be good for my portfolio. I don't know. What do you think? Where are we getting to time-wise? Right, we're coming up on 11 o'clock. I'm going to be home by 11. I've not had anything to eat yet, so I would need to have my breakfast, pack up my bags, and then perhaps pick up a leaflet on my way past the post office to see where all the studios are, and then work out a travel itinerary and just head out. Do you know what? The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I do have a lot of editing work to do already, some of it paid, so that's my priority. So I can get paid up to 2 hours a day for my crofters work. Although, to be fair, I've probably hit my 10-hour weekly limit already because of what I'm doing on site. I should actually put the windows up in the car. Right, windows up, you'll probably hear me a lot better now. So, yes, I could do my 2 hours for crofters. What would be holding me back would be the guitar content I have, the interview content I want to get published, because it's been about 3 weeks since I last published an interview video podcast, which would be the Mike Dawes interview. But that's channel content, which is also in a sense Patreon content, because that's what the main Patreon feed is supposed to be all about, which is the acoustic guitar I/O channel. However, the Patreon channel is really supporting all of my creative endeavours. A large part of the Patreon funding support that I'm looking for is to go towards equipment, particularly lights, lenses and storage. So I've just had to buy the storage now, which is on a credit card, and it's a long range one, so the interest won't kick in until September 2020, but that means I'm going to have paid it off by September 2020. But yeah, my point is that the Patreon campaign, perhaps I could rebrand it with my own. I don't actually have a name for myself, but then could I use simply acoustic guitar as the umbrella name, the umbrella brand that would cover, you know, documentary videos of Arran artists, or travel videos, or even some crofters content, although perhaps not. But that's part of my business because it's a freelance business. So yes, while it wouldn't cover the content that I make for crofters, because that's for them, it's also part of my portfolio, isn't it? Because when you do client work as a creative, that becomes part of my brand. So perhaps I should get myself onto Patreon and rebrand somehow, or change the campaign. This is fun, just talking into the mic, because it's given me an opportunity to go through thoughts in my head, whereas now I would probably normally be listening to a podcast, which in itself is useful, but this is more useful, I think, for getting some thoughts in order. So I think I will do the Arran art trail. I think it will be good for me to learn how to talk to people and to get people on camera, to film content, including B-roll. Now that I've talked it through, I'm actually quite excited about the prospect. So yeah, I'm just pulling into the vets now. I'll keep the mic going, I'll just jump into the vets and hand in this paste, and hopefully we'll get some reasonably good news this afternoon. She said she's going to ring us back about 2 o'clock to let us know how the hydration is working. So I'm just going to turn and jump in with the paste. So hand in the paste. Hi. I'll just hand that in for Charlotte. Thank you. Right, job done. I just passed David Hogg there. I don't know if you listened. I spoke about him on, I think it was my introductory episode to this podcast. David Hogg, the photographer. So if you visit davidrhogg.com, you'll see some of his photography there, and it's really good. It's worth having a look. He just got married and left the island, so he's obviously back on some form of Arran business. So if I see him again on the way past, perhaps I'll stop, jump out and say hi. He's with his wife, who's one of my daughter's former teachers at the high school. She's an English teacher. And I haven't actually congratulated them both face to face on their nuptials, so that would be kind of nice. It's quite nice having nowhere to go and no plans, and making plans on a beautiful sunny Arran weekend. So I'm just going into the post office now. You might meet Diane, depends if she's busy serving.
I see more of the island, I think, when I'm coastguarding, because I wasn't really doing that.
There you go, I managed to sneak in, pick up a leaflet, because she was busy serving. So, Arran artists invite you to Arran Open Studios, August 2nd through to 5th. And goodness me, there are, I think, over 43 open studios. That's a lot. Boy oh boy. So where to go first? Well, there's actually one just round the corner from my house. Might be a good place to start. Perhaps a better place to finish, I don't know. I think perhaps what I'll do then is I'll do the south end of the island on one day and the north end on another day. Now, Arran's roads are getting ridiculously busy this time of year. They brought in a thing 3 years ago, I think, called road equivalent tariff, and what that effectively did was subsidised the cost of bringing a vehicle over on the ferry, and as soon as they did that, the island exploded with vehicles. So now it's very difficult in the summer months to get anywhere quickly. And it's not only the cars, it's camper vans and it's bicycles. It's always been a popular cycling destination, but it seems to be getting ever more popular, and it just makes it, you've got to give yourself more time. Whenever you're travelling, you've got to make sure that you've got enough time to give yourself time to get stuck behind bikes and camper vans. So what am I going to have then gear wise? I'm going to have this microphone that I'm talking into just now, which will allow me to be heard while I point the camera and microphone at the artists. So that will be good. I've got to make sure, I think all my batteries are charged anyway. Shall I take lighting? Might be wise. I can take my light panel and have it portable with batteries. You can't, mate. I've got a motorbike behind me and he can't get past. And we've got Mark Bunyan parked on the verge. So now I'm having to stop Mark parks on the verge and then goes into the woods with his chainsaw and makes art, amongst other things. He does sculpting on logs with his chainsaw, and he makes mushrooms which they sell for garden furniture. Oh, there's the motorcycle passing me now. That must be such fun in weather like this. It's funny, we were coming into Brodick yesterday and a motorcycle passed me going at quite a clip, and Lorraine, my wife, she said, "What is the point?" And I was thinking, well, the point's fun, isn't it? It's that rush, the adrenaline. But she's very anti-motorcycle, and thankfully I'm not that interested in getting one, because that would cause a bit of a clash, I think. Anyway, so yeah, I'm quite excited now about my art studios documentary. So I've probably passed about 6 bicycles, which is not actually a lot, but it's like driving around the island as I'm planning to do now. I'm just going to have to make sure that I'm calm and patient, and I don't have to be in a hurry to get anywhere, which is in fact the case. So I'm going to go home, I'm going to have some breakfast, I'm going to pack up my gear, and I'm going to head off and do the Arran Studios circuit with my camera equipment and audio and lighting. How exciting. So you all got to hear the whole thought process, not quite from inception, because I mentioned it to my wife and she thought it was a good idea, but I still had that hesitation, that you know, and that's something I need not to have. I need to work on that. If I'm going to be a content creator, I need to be looking for opportunities for things that, well, firstly that I'll enjoy, but I think I enjoy pretty much any kind of content creation. It's practice, and it's also learning how to get rid of that negative voice in my head that says maybe you shouldn't bother, and perhaps analysing where that voice comes from, because I'm perfectly aware that it's there. Is it fear-based? I think so. I think it is mainly a fear thing. What are people going to think when I turn up to the studio with camera equipment? Well, the fact is, if they don't want to be on camera, then that's fine. It's no reflection on me. But I tend to think that if they're opening their studios to the public, then they're probably going to be happy about exposure. And I think that will be a good thing for my content becoming more widespread. If I can create content that has value, firstly to the artists, but secondly to the artists' potential clients and to other Arran visitors, and also to the Arran Tourist Board. Visit Arran, Visit Scotland. These organisations may very well be interested in using my content. So in actual fact, I seem to be coming to the conclusion that I would be mad not to do this. I will mention Chris and Jan, Positive Pictures. Chris and Jan are friends of mine, and they are filmmakers, very good filmmakers, very experienced filmmakers, and there's a chance that they will have not only thought of this idea, but that they will actually be executing on it. And I don't want to be stepping on anyone's toes. I know that all's fair in love and war and business, and that competition is healthy, but when you're talking about friends, when you're talking about a small island community such as this, it's important that you work with people and not step on toes, as it were. And it's possible that they're already out on the circuit. However, I happen to know through Facebook that it's Chris's birthday today, so he may very well be celebrating his birthday with his family. But bear in mind that the dates of the open studio are 2nd to the 5th, so he's got more than one day to get round and make his videos, as in fact do I, which is why I'm not going to try and cram it all into one day. So yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. I don't think I'll contact him and ask. I think I'll just do it, and then even if he is doing something more professionally and has organised it with, I don't know, then it will still be useful for me to practice getting out there with my gear and taking video content on location, as it were, and in various locations in short spaces of time, just to get used to setting up, speaking and making content. So I'm just arriving home, so you got to travel with me all the way to Brodick and all the way back. So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say thank you for listening, and I'm going to say goodbye. So see you again in the next one. Bye for now.